So, our last topic for today is kind of, again, some big news questioning if we're actually going to be having a NFL season coming up. First off, the NFLPA has recently issued a request stating that they believe the whole NFL preseason should be canceled, not just the two-game shortened, but the actual whole preseason should be canceled. I haven't been keeping up with that. I'm not sure if they have come to a conclusion on if that's actually going to happen. As far as I know, it's still just the two-game shortened preseason, but the Big Ten in the NCAA football conference has confirmed that they're going to be doing a conference only season this year, which is obviously to reduce travel and to try and reduce exposures and just basically more safety precautions, all in general. So this is obviously putting in jeopardy more of the regular NFL season happening. So I guess again, you know way more about kind of what's going on with this whole COVID thing. So what are your thoughts on this, Jimmy?
Yeah, there's a battle right now between the NFL and the NFLPA regarding the preseason, the protocols, and the number of preseason games. The NFLPA released a formal letter saying they did not want any preseason games because it wasn't medically a good idea.
Mhm.
Now, I want to point out that they weren't fully there. There was a little bit they were leaving out in that letter, which is money. Money counts in all of this.
Mhm.
If the players were getting paid their full amount for these preseason games, they wouldn't have any issue
Ye
with playing them
yeah,
because they're not arguing that they don't want to play regular season games.
exactly.
They're just arguing they don't want to play the preseason games. The way the salaries work is they get paid 1/17th of their salary for each regular season week.
Mhm.
So they're not getting anything to take additional risks during these preseason games. As far as how much actual risk there is in playing the preseason games, I don't think there's any additional risk beyond a typical practice or training camp
Right.
practice. The main additional risk is getting on the airplane for 1 to 3 hours and staying in a hotel room. Those are where the additional risks occur.
Mhm.
The NFL could do something to help decrease those risks by having teams play games that are closer to them to
Mhm.
decrease the travel time, the airplane time. The NFL has said that they want to play weeks 2 and 3. I actually think they should play week 1 to try to get a game in as soon as possible so that they have time before the regular season to adjust any protocols.
Yeah.
So I think they should try to play week 1 and 3 as
Mhm.
opposed to week 2 and 3. But right now they're going for weeks 2 and 3. Now, as far as the lying schedule for weeks 2 and 3, they're home against the Jets in week 2 and then away against the Dolphins in week 3. Both of those games involve significant travel distance
Mhm.
on the airplane. It'd be better if the NFL could change the schedule so that the Lions played the Bills, Browns, or Bengals, which would be a much shorter plane trip
Yeah.
and decrease medical concerns.
Mhm.
So, again, if medical justification was the criteria for the players, well, there's no justification for even playing regular season games. So, as I said, it all comes down to money,
Yep.
and that's where the battle is being waged, and that's where the players might be trying to get some leverage and maybe asking for hazard pay or more money to play these preseason games.
Yeah. Exactly. Which I think they are completely justified, which that's a whole nother topic. And they're talking about kind of moving money into some sort of escrow account and paying them later. And what I think it was 37 or 38%, somewhere around there,
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
that they're cutting their salaries by. So,
But one thing that gives me hope in that the NFL and the NFLPA is going to work things out is there's one positive thing that happened this year. This year's been a disaster for many reasons, but one thing that's very positive was the NFL and the NFLPA were very peaceful in how they negotiated this new CBA, and they were able to get it done a full year ahead of schedule with minimal to no public bickering, like we've seen recently with the MLB.
yeah.
So it was remarkable that they were able to do that. Usually, these kind of CBA discussions go down to the deadline or even past the deadline with
Mhm.
lockouts and strikes. The last CBA uh, discussion that happened 10 years ago was extremely acrimonious between DeMaurice Smith and Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
There was just fighting on public fighting all the time. So this year, the fact that there was none of that was a really good sign, and it makes me hopeful that the NFL and NFLPA can reach an agreement on how this coming season is going to play out, the protocols, the money, without too much public bickering.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And again, I was for sure thought that we were going to go down to the wire and there was going to be a possible lockout or shortened season just because of the CBA, not let alone COVID. But yeah, so I guess again, we'll just have to, like I said, every time we'll have to wait and see, and we'll just have to play it by ear. Again, I do agree with you about how you think that we should kind of do week one instead of two and three, and kind of again give it a little bit of a week space to see how it goes out, test the protocols, and then make an adjustment. Then go on to week three and maybe
Right.
again see how it goes. That seems more of a smarter plan than just doing two and three right back to back and giving more players exposure. Like you said, I feel like doing the travel and all that so quick week after week might be, but I don't know. Maybe their doctors supposedly know more than we do.
Yeah. Well, everything is up in the air right now. There's
That's
so much that doctors don't know
mhm.
about this whole infectious disease thing. So this is why we do need these trial runs. We do need these dress rehearsals in the preseason so that the doctors and the medical professionals can figure out what worked and what didn't so they can
Yeah,
adjust it for the regular season. So get it started on week 1 so that the doctors can have some time to figure things out and change things if necessary.
exactly. Also, let's just have a week one so we can have some NFL football as quickly as we can because it's been a long time and I'm gonna need some football here soon.
I agree. We're all sort of craving it, getting a little antsy for it.
Exactly. Again, with all this the whole NFL season being in jeopardy of not even happening, it's all just the moment I finally see some football being played, I think I'll have a big sigh of relief.
And back to your other point about the Big Ten football conference changing to a conference play only, they said there's potentially going to be a 10-game season max. That's what they're looking at right now. So the season could get delayed as far as the starting date, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. So we're already seeing some fallout
Yeah.
regarding COVID.
Yeah, again, but I mean, as long as it's not canceled completely, I think I'll be okay. I do enjoy college football, not as much as I do NFL, obviously, but I feel like college football, I'll just turn on a random game and just kinda enjoy football for what it is without having to get so worked up watching the Lions games all the time.
Yeah, it's sort of a nice appetizer on Saturday before the Sunday full meal happens.
Exactly, yeah, before I get all my emotions running through my
Right.
body and getting all mad at the every Sunday night going to bed, but, you know.
Yeah. Now, there is a chance that the college football season is going to be postponed or canceled. The Ivy League already canceled all fall sports.
Yep.
So they're looking at if they're going to have a football season, it's going to be in the spring.
Yeah, and I know some other NCAA conferences, big conferences have discussed same thing, having their moving it to the spring as well, but they would if they did that, they would say do the same thing, just be a conference only type schedule.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the college playoff system works if all these conferences are only doing conference play. With no interconference play, I don't even know how you compare the strengths of different conferences. I don't
Mhm.
like it where the SEC just automatically is assumed that they're the best teams and best conference.
Of course.
It's not fair to the Big Ten.
And see, that was my again, this is a whole whole 'nother topic we're getting off debate, but that's my biggest problem with college football, and that's why I don't enjoy it as much as the NFL because the talent is so far spread out. Obviously, there's certain teams like Alabama, like whatever, like there's certain teams that always have a good team and a lot of talent that they come, but every team usually has 1 to 2 star players who is really good in like Division 1 college football. So the talent level is much more spread out in college as opposed to like again sometimes I know this year we're not having interconference divisions but sometimes you'll see a division 1 play a low division 2 or division 3 opponent and they just slaughter them and it's just like watching those games is just not even fun at that point. So that's why I think with any major sport I enjoy watching the talent level being somewhat similar in a professional league.
Yeah, I agree. There's so much parity in the NFL. The talent level is so even. Every team has a chance.
Yeah.
Most teams are around that 8-8 range every year. So it's super exciting every year to see
Mhm.
how your team is going to do.
Yeah, and even some of the worst teams, like, you can see, like, some of the worst teams in the NFL beat some of the best teams, like, most recently was it I think last year, 2 years ago, we saw the Dolphins, who were one of the worst teams in the league, beat the New
They
England
beat the
Patriots.
Patriots last
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
Yep.
so anything can happen in the NFL, like you said, there's so much talent on every NFL team that anything can happen.
Yeah, you just look at the Lions season last year, we were leading almost every single game. Those are all coin flip games. Our record could have easily been 10-6.
Oh, yep. It's just so much goes into the NFL and so many factors that play into a game, and certain just one play can affect an entire game.